Welcome to Interviewing the Legends with special guests Joe Deninzon and Gianni.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Interviewing the Legends. I'm your host, Ray Shasho. Joe Deninzon has been hailed by critics, of course, as the Jimi Hendrix of the violin because of his innovative style on the Viper 7-string electric violin. Most recently, he became electric violinist, backup violinist, rhythm guitarist for the legendary rock band Kansas. Joe is also the lead singer and violinist for the progressive rock band Stratospheerius, which has just released their 6th album, Impostor. He can be heard on over 100 albums and jingles as a violinist and string arranger. The band's recently released album, Impostor, features an impressive array of guest musicians from the prog world, such as our friend Michael Sadler, Randy McStine, our friend Fernando Perdomo, Chloe Lowery, Val Vigoda, and multi-instrumentalist Rachel Flowers. It's produced by Joe and mixed and mastered by the legendary Rich Mauser from Neal Morse Dream Theater Tears for Fears fame. Impostor promises to be a standout release. And let me tell you, man, it is incredible. Please welcome electric acoustic violinist, guitarist, composer, singer, mandolinist Joe Deninzon, and drummer Gianni to Interviewing the Legends. Hey, guys.
Hey. How you doing, Ray? Great to be back.
I'm looking at your schedule. I think your next Kansas gig is in Paducah, Kentucky. Is that right, Joe?
Paducah, Kentucky on Friday night. And
right.
Then, 2 shows in Nashville, Indiana, Saturday and Sunday, right by my alma mater, Indiana University in Bloomington.
That's right. Bloomington. Yeah.
Some old haunts, you know.
Huh.
I hadn't been back there in years.
So. Really? Is that right? My wife's from Henderson, Kentucky. Do you know where that is?
I don't.
It's right over the bridge, and then it hits Evansville, Indiana. So I guess it's Western Kentucky, you know?
I know Evansville. We used to play in the orchestra when we were students there.
Is that right? Yeah.
We would drive out and play in different regional orchestras to make money while we were.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I got married in Henderson. Cool. So I know that area really good. There's a lot of nice people in that area.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Now, Stratospheerius has a gig. It's like the final gig of the year, right?
Yeah, I think it's our 4th and final gig of the year. That's how many gigs we've been able to do with our 4th show of the year, and it's our official album release party.
Right.
And also my 50th birthday bash.
Well, happy birthday early.
So we're going to have our band and the T Club with Kansas bassist Dan McGowan. And
cool. Yeah.
Randy McStine.
Right.
From Porcupine Tree, Steve Wilson, and Dave Bainbridge will be doing solo sets before us. So it's an amazing night of music. And I came prepared because I have a QR code where people can get tickets.
Oh, good. Very good.
I'll hold that up.
That's cool. Everybody get your cell phones out.
It's December 15th, Williams Center in Rutherford, New Jersey.
Rutherford, New Jersey. Yeah.
So there you go.
You live in New Jersey, right, Joe?
I do. In fact, 4 of the members of Kansas live in New Jersey.
Is that right? Oh, that's right. Rich. Oh, no, Rich is in North Carolina, right?
I live in Old Tappan, New Jersey. Tom Brislin lives in Dunellen.
Uh-huh.
Zach Risby lives in Northwest. I forget the town he lives in. And Dan McGowan lives near Cherry Hill, near Philadelphia area. So we kind of got the whole state covered between us. You know?
How about that?
And Jason lives in New Jersey too.
You live in New Jersey? What part, Jason?
The northern part, in Livingston, New Jersey.
Livingston,
which is outside of Newark and the Oranges, West Orange, South Orange, that area over there.
Kind of the country in a way.
It's just over there's a mountain ridge that overlooks New York City, and if you're on this side, you're looking at New York City. If you're on this side, you're looking at more like farms and that kind of thing. So I'm not quite in the farms, and but yeah. We can call it rivers, lakes, the whole thing.
Yeah, I know. New Jersey is a very interesting state because you got the I don't know, not refineries, but you know,
Yeah.
all that stuff. But then you have the country as well, you know?
I think it's one of the most beautiful states in our country. Honestly, it really is. You just got to get out of that crap area near
Exactly.
Newark Airport that everyone goes, oh, New Jersey's disgusting.
Everyone associates New Jersey with that area because that's where they
Right.
fly. And it's in New York City. But there's so much to the state. There's beautiful beaches and mountains, as Jason said, and farmland. Everything's got
Amazing.
Yeah.
someone.
What happened? What happened to Atlantic City? Is it? I went to Atlantic City when it first opened up. I mean, they had, I don't know, maybe 2 hotels opened up at the time, and then we went back a couple of times. Me and my wife, we saw Sinatra there. We saw Kathy Lee and Regis and all kinds of shows and stuff. But has it dropped in popularity, or is it still pretty thriving? You know,
I mean, you know, the casino business is obviously still huge there.
right?
If you go into there's a funny comedian that said they spend $50 million on the boardwalk and the casinos in Jersey,
Right.
and $5 million on the $5 on the rest of the city. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Right.
But yeah, it's you know it's kind of a you know a hovel of a city, but the casino areas and the boardwalk is still very exciting. There's a lot down there.
Kansas just played at Caesars in Atlantic City in early August, and it was slamming. It was packed, you know, and the boardwalk was very much alive.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't go there that often, so you know, it was
just when you play. Yeah.
I'm not a big gambler, you know. Trying to get better at blackjack since we're doing so many casino gigs with the band, but
It's tough, man. I'm telling you, it's hard to win.
there's no foolproof method. I'm learning some
No,
strategy,
not at all.
but yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I think I do, but then I'm always proven wrong.
Well, let's talk about the new album. I love it, man. It's great. I love the album cover, by the way. Who designed that?
A lovely young lady named Jody Gianni.
My wife.
Oh,
married.
really?
Yes.
Very
Yeah.
cool. I
Yes.
really like that.
She's a photographer and a graphic artist. Well, more of a photographer by trade,
Mhm.
but she is amazing with graphic arts too. And she did an incredible. It was funny because we asked her to do it, and then she woke up one morning. She goes, "I think I have the vision for the record," and she like mocked it up. I was like, "Oh my god, this is incredible!" So, whatever.
She
You
did
know,
a great job, man.
thank
It
you.
really stands out.
Here's
Thank
the
you.
cover, actually.
There it is.
Yeah, it
Look how
is.
cool that is. It's perfect.
And
Yeah.
I'm wearing the T-shirt that she
There
designed.
you go.
Oh, wow. Nice.
I'm like
Very nice.
plugging everything. I'm a total publicity whore at this interview.
Joe, you ever get mixed up and put your Stratospheerius hat on, but you're at a Kansas show?
Well, I wear the same hat for everything, you know.
Okay.
Same character, you know.
Sometimes he does that with his underwear on his head. And we're like,
That,
everything gets
yeah,
all
that
screwed
does
up.
happen, but that's for a whole another gig that I do. We're not going to talk about that. But yeah, so Jody, she was amazing. She just did such an amazing job with the artwork. I'm going to give her a big shout out and much gratitude.
Does she shoot pictures at the show too, Jason?
She would,
Yeah.
but she actually went through a period of time where she did a lot of live band shooting, not
Mhm.
even just like stuff that I was in, but
Right.
she went to like a couple of like electronic conventions where like maybe like U2 was playing or you know, something like that. And she has like a lot of really good shots in her portfolio, but she has since gotten away from that and gotten more into like family portraits and baby births and that sort of thing.
Right.
But she's like Joe and I with music. She's kind of a jack of all trades.
Yeah, she can do anything.
Yeah, she does everything. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to pay the bills, you know.
Yeah,
Pay for this.
however you can, man. Everything's going up. Expensive.
Yep.
I want to tell you, man, Rich Mauser did a great job mixing this album. Didn't he? The quality is amazing. And it was well produced, of course, by Joe. But it sounds wonderful.
I met Rich through Jason.
Huh.
We went to see Neal Morse band on tour in 2016.
Right.
Jason introduced me to Rich because Jason toured with Neal Morse as Mike Portnoy's sub.
I just had Neil on the show not long ago.
Oh, cool.
One of our musical heroes. I'll let Jason talk about
He's
that.
so late. Neal is so laid back, man. He's sitting in front of his porch with like a t-shirt on. It's funny.
Considering how laid back he is, I'm blown away by how much work he gets done and how much music he puts out all the time.
It's crazy, isn't it?
He's intense in the studio though.
Is
You
he?
know, I mean, yeah. I mean, he is very he's a busy bee and he gets a lot done, and he has so much music in his head. It's bizarre, you know. Yeah, Neal's great, and Rich, when I was on the road with Neal, was doing some live sound for us.
Right.
And being Joe and I both are huge fans of Spock's Beard,
Mm.
and that's where I was initially introduced to Rich through not met him, but just through his work. And then when I met him, I said, "Oh my God! I mean, your work with Spock's is so incredible." And then that's how that relation, and we've been friends since, and that's how our relationship started with Joe and Rich.
And I got to say, you know, all your life as a musician, you're chasing a certain sound in your head, and you're never
Right.
quite get it. With Rich, it was so easy because he got us. He understood the genre. He understood what we were trying to do. That's the least amount of mixes I've ever sent back. It was just, and it sounded better than my wildest dreams. I mean, I think this album sounds better than anything we've done before.
I think you're right. You know,
so grateful. We're so grateful to Rich. It was just so great to work with him.
Yeah,
I think it's cool. Stratospheerius has their own sound. I mean, you don't sound like a bunch of other bands, you know? You really don't.
You know, one thing, and we said this in another interview, is that like if you go back and listen to some of the Spock's records,
Right.
they're totally timeless. Like they're not dated to anything. You know,
That's right.
And that's part of Rich's magic. I don't know how he does it. It doesn't sound like it was done in 1999 or something like that.
Right.
You know, the records that he did then sound like what they do now. And I'm so happy to be part of that cycle because I really feel like this record's never going to really date itself, you know?
Yeah. It's just everything sounds so clear and organic and just not over compressed. And I mean, it's like I was on a huge Spock's Beard kick for many years, and then I listened to the Neal Morse solo stuff and Sons of Apollo and Transatlantic and all the stuff that Rich did, and he mixed all those records, and I'm like, wow, this is what I want us to sound like. So I'll just get the guy that's doing it, you know.
Another good guy's Steve Wilson, you know.
Oh yeah,
it's great. Yeah.
Another guy that does a lot of work.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the album is great. I'll give it 5 stars.
Wow.
And,
thank you. God, I even gave it 4. So that's
you gave it 4. Oh no.
So in the spirit of shameless self-promotion, here is the QR code where you can I came prepared. It's a landing page where you can get it on Bandcamp from 7D or what label, or stream it wherever streaming is done. So
it's an excellent album.
Thank you.
I told Ian Anderson about one of his albums that I gave it a 5, and he says, out of what, 10?
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Lowest. 1 being
Well, track opens up with Voodoo Vortex, part 2, a very quick track, fast opening. Then Outrage Olympics. Who's singing that song? Is that you, Joe?
I'm doing most of the lead vocals on the album, but we have Michael Sadler and Randy McStine.
Right.
Lowery. But that song I'm doing all the vocals on.
Joe, you're a really good singer, man. You know, I forget that because you always concentrate on your violin, you know.
Well, I'm known mainly as a violinist, but I've been singing and playing guitar most of my life.
Right.
You know, and other instruments too. But we're all multi-dimensional characters. You know,
I like that.
About, you know, Jason sings as well and plays piano, and you know, and has co-written a lot of music on this album too.
So you got Randy on this track. You got some background vocals by, is it Neal Morse? Neal Morse on sitar. Angus Clark is on guitar sitar. The song sounds a little bit like Yes to me. You know, it's got that Yes influence.
Well, we're definitely influenced by Yes. And I think there's a King's X influence with the harmonies and Queen, and you know, a lot of different shades of a lot of different things we grew up with. You know?
Yeah, you just can't help it. It just happens.
the video on that for that song we're really proud of.
hmm
Go check it out on YouTube, Outrage Olympics. And yeah, it was our first single when the album came out, and it's gotten a great response. It's a fun song to play, and we're gonna play it live on the.
Do you
Are
have a
you
QR
going to
code?
play most of the album?
We're gonna try. There's some songs that are very hard to. They're studio creations. They're very hard to reproduce live.
Right.
We're gonna try to play as much of it as we can.
What about Impostor? Can you got to play that live,
Yes.
right?
That's been in our set for a while. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a little Kansas influence in that song.
A lot.
A lot. Well, once we have the violin, people automatically compare you to Kansas if you have a violin in your band. But as soon as we added keyboards, especially, it sounds more like Kansas. And that's the video I sent to Phil Ehart when before he offered me the gig. So I think that's the song that
That was it. That was a clincher, huh?
one of our
But-
most Kansas-y sounding songs.
Yeah, but the funny thing is that was the first song that was written for this record years ago, and it was before Joe was even in the band.
That's right.
So people were like, "Wow, that sounds like Kansas," and Joe was like, "I don't even know. I don't even know a lot of the violin parts to Kansas anyway." I'm like, "Dude, you're gonna be in the band one day. Shut up."
I never said that. When did you say that?
I just said you'll know one day. You'll be influenced the way I am.
Now I can't really say anything if people say it sounds like Kansas. So,
Right.
it's charged
You can't help it now.
myself.
I like what you said about imposter. You said leaders who should not be leaders have confidence. People who should be leaders do not have the confidence. Is that right?
It's not my quote. I got to look up who quoted that, but it was
Right.
basically a lot of the real imposters run the world, and people who have imposter syndrome. And some of the most successful, smartest people have imposter syndrome.
Right.
Are too insecure to run the world, but probably would be better off doing that. We'd be better kind of along those lines. So
There's a song by the Guess Who off the 10 album that I love. It's called Cardboard Empire. And it's kind of like that, the government building a cardboard empire, that eventually it's going to fall apart. There's a lot of those around the world.
it'll be interesting what kind of art and music comes out in the next few years.
Yeah.
Mhm, for sure.
You have up on let's see, cognitive dissonance, which is a hard word to say. I don't know how you came up with that title. That's a tricky one, man.
Yeah.
Randy's on that one. I guess he sings on that one, right?
I actually originally was going to have I wanted to have a guest singer on that song, and we
Mhm.
never used guest lead vocalists. I wanted to try something different, and I originally thought of having, oh my God, Michael Sadler sing on that song.
Right.
Randy's voice was better suited, and Michael ended up singing on Storm Surge. And
That's right.
Randy's been a friend of the band and has subbed with the band on every instrument over the years.
Really?
Yeah,
Huh.
he's part of the family, and yeah, he's all over this record as a guest guitarist and singer.
Yeah, I like how you brought in Michael Sadler. Michael's a good guy too. I like Michael. He's a really, really cool guy. He sings on Storm Surge. You have the great Rachel Flowers. She is so freaking talented, and she's on piano and flute. Fernando, he plays a great acoustic guitar on that. That's him, right?
It's him. Yeah.
Yeah, did an awesome job. Fernando's a fellow Cuban. My mom was Cuban, so
I didn't realize you were Cuban.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah, half Cuban, and on my dad's side they were Syrian Jews.
That's a
That's
mix.
Sephardic. You're half Sephardic and half Cuban.
Yeah, how about that?
So that's interesting. Well, actually, the song "Cognitive Dissonance" was inspired by something that happened with my son. Our old house, our neighbors were Palestinian and we're Jewish.
Right.
And kids were the same age, and Max and their kid were playing together and were friends. And at one point, the kid asked Max, what his religion was. He said he was Jewish, and he said, "You're going to hell." And it made me realize that
Shame.
it's we're all born a clean slate, and we just want to hang out with each other.
Yeah.
it's the weight of history that our elders impart on us that poisons that innocence.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cognitive
And,
dissonance
and
means that-
government.
cognitive dissonance means you know someone personally who's a nice person, and it clashes with whatever preconceived notions you were given.
Yep.
That's kind of
My dad had retail electronics stores since the late 50s, and we were in DC on 13th and F Street. We were on the corner, so we call them SYs, Syrian Jews. Next door was the Blue Mirror Grill, which was Lebanese and Muslim. Okay. We got along like this. We were buddies. We were like family. Then about 4 doors down were Iranians, a leather goods store. All buddies. We should have been the United Nations,
Yeah.
I mean,
you talk to any Israelis, and especially musicians, they play with Palestinians on gigs all the time in Israel.
right.
They're all living together.
Yeah.
What the media portrays to people that have never been there is very different.
Well, the Palestinians, what I understand, they used to go into Israel and work. Is that right?
Still do.
Yeah. And by bus, they took a bus, they went to Israel. But,
They have seats in government, and they're part of the fabric of everyday life. So
Yeah.
it's very much more complicated than
it is. And my uncle was a Russian Jew.
That's what Joe is.
that's what I
Yeah.
am.
My uncle was a Russian Jew. Yeah. We
We're all-
might be related, Joe. Who knows?
We all might be. And Jason's a pizza bagel, right?
I am. I'm half Jewish and half Italian.
There you go. I got some Italian in me too, because the Italian we originated in Italy and then moved to Syria a long time ago.
So your last name's Italian?
It's actually Arabic. It's a Syrian.
It's Arabic. Okay.
Syrian, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds Italian. Yeah, that's
It does sound Italian.
Interesting.
You know what it means in Japanese? It means the train conductor.
Shasho.
Shasho means train conductor in Japanese.
You don't want to know the words I know in Japanese. Let's leave it at that.
Oh, really? Yeah, I would.
We'll save it for another interview.
All right. All I know is arigato and mushi mushi.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
People think I used to play in an Italian folk band. They called me Giuseppe Denenzoni, but I don't have
I like that.
anyway.
Yeah. Italians are great people. I always had a lot of Italian friends.
And they can cook.
Yeah. Oh, geez. The best.
They know how to cook. They know how to eat.
Exactly. Both. Storm Surge, great track. One of my favorites, I think. It's kind of super prog. It also kind of talks about it's like anxiety about the future. These are little messages, I guess, in the song.
It was one of the first songs written. It was right around the time the pandemic hit, and it was about the uncertainty that everyone was feeling, and it's
right.
both, everything that was going on in 2020, the fights for social justice, the pandemic.
There was a scary time. Yeah.
So it's basically a general kind of theme of anxiety, and I used to have dreams about stormy seas and drowning, and it's anxiety dream. So, but at the end of the song, it goes into a major key and the sun comes up. So it's a hopeful ending. And
yeah, you're a great writer, man. You're a great songwriter.
Thanks, man. And it's actually based on an old piano etude from Friedrich Burgmüller that my son was practicing. He's a German composer from the 19th century.
Oh, wow.
Slowed it down, turned it into a power ballad, and Jason co-wrote it with me and Michael Sadler. So it was a collaboration with 3 of us and this dead German guy.
Oh, jeez. That's
we don't have to give him credit because it's like after 75 years.
Exactly.
It's public domain, but yeah.
No, you don't have to keep up with his family or anything, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Very cool song, man. Frame by Frame, King Crimson cover. What made you decide on that one?
You know, I love, obviously we're all King Crimson fans.
Yep.
And I always was drawn to Adrian Belew because he's just a charming performer, great guitar player, and a great singer. And his voice and my voice are in the same range.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do a lot of covers, but I thought, man, that song just speaks to me. So we started playing it live on gigs a bunch of years ago, and it just really felt right. And it was fun to play the fast ostinato guitar parts from Robert Fripp on the violin. They lend themselves well to the violin, and I hadn't heard anyone try to do that before. So we just decided to record it because we had our own take on the song, and it's been part of our live show ever since.
Now, Jason shines on this track.
Oh, thanks.
He gets to let it all out.
Yeah. Well, that Bill Bruford, the Bruford parts on that are just incredible, and yeah, really. I mean, I didn't do his exact parts, but certainly tried to pay homage to like his approach with those really fast, fills and that sort of thing. And if I don't warm up well enough before a gig, I don't sound like Bruford. I sound like Bruford's like mom or something like that.
Probably a good drummer too. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
But now, what's a little confusing about you, Joe? Sometimes I don't know if it's you playing violin, guitar, or somebody else playing electric guitar. Are you playing violin on that song, or who's playing what?
I'm playing violin on that song
because it sounds like an electric guitar.
There's Michelangelo Cornali, our guitarist, is playing
right.
Adrian Belew's parts. I'm playing Robert Fripp's parts.
Right.
You take some really trippy solos with some wacky soundscapes, so you can't always tell that it's a violin. And I have this philosophy that we're in an age where instruments are post-definition, because a guitar can sound like
it's amazing.
String section, a keyboard can sound like anything, so why can't a violin sound like something else? And who cares, as long as it serves the song?
Yeah,
if it's a cool sound, use it. You don't have to cling to what is a violin or what is. It doesn't really matter. So I've always liked to be on that edge and experiment with different sounds, and that's just my.
I think I'm going to start calling you the Jimmy Page of the violin.
Another huge influence.
Your violin's incredible, man. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Thanks,
you don't need a guitar player.
Don't say that to Mike.
Yeah, no. Well, the two of them work so well together. I
mean,
you would never know that it's like, two instruments, sort of strange instruments that match each other, and they work so great together,
Well, one of my things in this band, I always loved having a foil in the guitar player. Before Jason's time, we've done a few gigs as a trio, and it was just a lot of heavy lifting for me trying to cover all those parts.
Oh, really?
But we've had a succession of great guitarists, and each of them brought their own amazing talent to the sound. We had Alex Skolnick, Jake Ezra, Mac Price, Aurelian Budinek, great players, and all made the music sound very different. And Michelangelo is incredible, and I love jamming with him, training solos with him on stage, and he just brings so much.
You could never open up for Kansas because you guys are too good. Right?
I'd be very tired by the end of that night.
It's happened before, though. Some guys have done that.
Themselves. The thing is, with Kansas, everybody, well, a lot of the guys have their own bands too. Like Tom Brislin has his whole solo repertoire,
right?
And he was with the band Spiraling, which he fronted, and Dan McGowan has T Club. So we could do a whole, festival with all of our individual projects in Kansas. But
exactly,
that would be kind of weird. I don't know.
Yeah. I would love to put together a prog tour with, maybe 6 to 8 bands touring the U.S.
It might happen someday. I mean, I believe there's a growing audience again. People are rediscovering prog, and I see more younger people at our concerts, at Kansas shows. It gives me hope.
Kind of like the cruise,
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, the cruise.
Yeah.
The prog cruise, Ray?
Yeah, the prog cruise. Yeah.
You been on it?
I have not, man. It's hard to get tickets to that. I mean, you got to book way in advance, like a year and a half, 2 years ahead of time.
Yeah, I did it twice, and it was one of the greatest experiences of my life.
You got it coming up again, don't you, with Kansas?
That's a different cruise. We're playing something called Rock and Romance Cruise.
Right. It's a good lineup, though.
With Jefferson Starship, Air Supply, John Lodge from the Moody Blues, and
right.
So that's in March. That's gonna be wild.
That's crazy.
But yeah, Cruise to the Edge is really full of music nerds and great prog bands. And I
Yep.
was when I wasn't playing, I was running between 4 shows going on at the same time, losing my mind and trying to catch as much as I could as a fan.
It's amazing.
Heaven. It was just amazing. And you
Yeah,
get to hang out and have dinner with these people.
exactly.
Dinner with your record collection. It's like
I know. Yeah, right. I like that.
get a chance, definitely go. Definitely try.
Yeah, I want to. I definitely want to. Here's a thought: tripping the merry-go-round. You know what that reminded me of? Gentle Giant.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Thank you. Did you read
Nailed
the
it.
explanation, or you just kind of got reminded without reading my little blurb about it?
No, I didn't read. I didn't read anything. It just came to mind. Gentle Giant. 'Cause I was a big Gentle Giant fan too.
The concept is if Gentle Giant wrote Eleanor Rigby. That's
Really? I didn't even read that. Wow.
because it's all strings and Gentle Giant-esque vocals with just
Yeah.
quintet, and
How about that? I got a pretty good ear.
so
And I think probably my favorite track is Chasing the Dragon. And I always say this when I hear a song like this, it's like a concept album within a single track, or you call it like a mini rock opera. And it is, you know?
it's a story, and that was a monster of a. So we worked on that, I think, for 2 years on one song, and Jason presented the idea. It was a co-write with me and Jason.
Really. You guys did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Jason sent me a 1.5-minute MIDI track of just a bunch of ideas he was throwing around, and I kind of organized it into different mini songs and presented it back to him, and then we kept like throwing a ball back and forth. I'm like, here's a new section. He goes, well, here's another section. How about this section? It ballooned into this 12-minute magnum opus, and it was nuts. We're very proud of it and excited that people are finally getting to hear it.
It's what I call epic and cinematic as well. And it features Chloe Lowery, who I didn't know she was as big as she was. She's been around. Yeah.
She's been with the Trans-Siberian Orchestra for over 10 years, but she sang
Wow.
with Gianni before that. And I don't know how she's not the most famous singer in the world. She is.
Right.
She is. So I've had her on a variety of different projects, and we've worked on some other things with her. She is so inexplicably good.
Mhm.
It's beyond. Joe didn't even have to give her anything. Like he gave him like a guide track of him singing, and she sent it back to us. We were like, "Oh my god!"
Just hit it out of the park. And
Yeah.
It was Jason's idea and introduction, and
Hmm.
I'm so grateful that he introduced me to her and that she agreed to sing on the song. She
Yeah.
was-
The track is kind of like a midlife crisis thing that you're experiencing. Is that true?
Well, the idea behind, I always kind of was floating this idea around because the last 8 years of my life, I kind of got to know the prog community, the prog rock.
Right.
New Jersey, started going to more festivals and Cruise to the Edge and seeing the same people, and a lot of them were guys my age, like late 40s, early 50s, who still play in bands and still maybe have fantasies of being rock stars that started when they were 15. And I were like, man, we're so pathetic. We're all so pathetic. The idea, and then I thought of this concept, chasing the dragon. Like whenever I promote the band or try to do a new album or try to chase the dream, I'm chasing the dragon. And later I found out it was a heroin term, and I didn't even realize.
Oh no.
So the song kind of pokes fun at me and my friends in a way, but it's also a bit tragic. It's about this guy whose obsession just drives him to the edge,
Right.
And then Chloe Lowery plays the female voice that tries to bring him back to earth and reality, and unsuccessfully. But it's kind of a dark comedy tragedy song,
Mhm.
And it's kind of where my head was at when I wrote it. I was like, well, what does it all mean? What am I doing with my life? Where is this all leading? So all these questions you ask yourself, I'm about to turn 50 in 2 weeks, and we've all had these thoughts, and I wanted to kind of address that in a song. It's a topic I haven't seen covered in a lot of songs. I was being personal and kind of honest, throwing my heart on a plate,
Yeah.
So that's pretty much the gist of it. People can interpret it how they
Right.
want to. That's the idea.
Jason, has Joe bought a Ferrari or anything for his midlife thing or no? Have you seen any changes in him?
No, but he's shaved weird parts of his body. I don't
Oh,
know
okay.
Yeah.
That's a tell.
We
I
can't
was
show
thinking a
that.
mohawk, but I don't think that's going to happen. I did
yeah,
join a big rock band. That happened. So
yeah. I think we're both going through, we're about the same age. We're both going through
Right.
the same kind of thing. My wife and I are calling it menopause. You know,
It's real.
it's
real.
It's
that's
a
going
real
to be the
thing.
title of the sequel song, I think.
Part 2.
I like that.
Chasing the Dragon Part 2, menopause.
Menopause.
Yeah. But I haven't bought anything much because I'm cheap as hell. But I definitely, I'm definitely feeling, some midlife stuff going on for sure.
I'm 65, and
Oh, you
the
look great,
the
man.
problem with me, man, I've lost a lot of friends at young age,
Yeah.
and that hurts. I mean, I used to be. I went to school in Fort Lauderdale. We were talking about Fort Lauderdale. I used to live off of Oakland Park. You know where that
Mhm.
is? Oakland Park
Yeah.
Boulevard. I went to broadcasting school there, and me and my two friends. This is funny, Tom and Jerry. We always hung out together. We were three music aficionados. We were going to conquer the world, and they're both gone now. And
Sorry.
it's like I'm the last one. It's just a weird feeling, at this stage of my life.
I'm a big Springsteen fan, and the last album he put out had themes of death in it, and he had a song called "Last Man Standing."
Right.
His high school band, the Castiles, and he was realizing he was the last person living from that band.
From that band, yeah, that's the way I feel, man.
So
Yeah, it's
think of that song. Yeah.
my friend Jerry actually interviewed Bruce Springsteen back in '79 when Bruce was first, hitting it big. He was a journalist, a music journalist, and he had an article in a newspaper, and he was only like 18, 19 years old when he was doing that. And the guy was super intelligent. Both of those guys were super intelligent. It's a big loss,
Yeah.
really is.
Fellas, I am gonna have to split. So I'm gonna
Jason.
let the two of you talk. But I want to thank you for having me and us on. This has been a pleasure.
Been my
Thank-
pleasure, Jason.
Yeah, and
They're a
thank
great
you for-
drummer, by the way.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it, and thank you so much for your such kind words about the record and
Oh.
for promoting it and everything. So
It's awesome. I
Thank you, my
really
brother.
enjoyed the album, and I'm going to promote the hell out of it.
well, we couldn't ask for more. Thank you, and hello to all your fans, and I will see you soon. And enjoy the rest of the interview.
Love you,
Thank you,
brother.
Jason.
Have a good day.
Love you, Joey. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
He's a good guy.
It really is. So
Yeah.
I want. Do you do do you do like ticket giveaways on this show, or is that something that's
I can. I mean, I've got lots of websites I could probably do that, or even on this show. I mean,
we have some tickets that we could do that with, however you want to facilitate. Maybe I should have asked you in advance, but
right. Let me know how you want me to do it. Maybe send an email to Anne and have her forward it to me, or I can give you my email address directly.
you can round robin. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then you can make an announcement. and-
Sure. Oh yeah, people would love that.
Cool.
Definitely. I'm gonna have to talk about Kansas a little bit.
Sure.
Okay, you're coming to Florida. Yeah.
January.
You're going to be at the Hard Rock in Tampa, February 2nd. I want to mention that. You've been there before. This is good. This is like a regular gig for you now at the Hard Rock.
I personally have not. They were there before my time, but
Right.
that's isn't that the place with the big guitar? Is that the one?
I don't know. I can't remember now. I don't know if that's the one on the East Coast or not. It could be, because there's one on the East Coast, there's one in Orlando, and now there's one in Tampa. It's a great venue, though.
I love that they always book Florida in January and February,
Perfect.
and not North Dakota. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're going to be in Orlando and in Tampa. And also you'll be in Fort Lauderdale as well.
That's right.
Yeah, that's great. You got a lot of Florida dates, as a matter of fact. Coconut Creek, another casino, the Seminole Casino, Coconut Creek, and let's see, another casino in how do you pronounce that? Immokalee, Florida.
I mispronounce it, but
Yeah, I've never been there before.
but people can see all the dates at kansasband.com.
Exactly.
And right now we have 7 shows left of the 50th anniversary tour.
Hmm.
And on December 11th in Pittsburgh at the Benedum or Benedium, I always mispronounce it, the Benedum Center in Pittsburgh, where we started the tour, where I had my first show.
Right.
Then we have a month off for the holidays, and then we go back to the classics set list, which is a shorter set list, but with some
Right.
different songs in it. And that's the set list we use for festivals and casinos and things like that. And those gigs are a lot of fun.
Hmm.
I enjoy both. I love the 50th anniversary set list. It's really special.
Yeah.
And,
I got to ask you, man, how's Phil doing?
he is better.
Right.
He's planning to return and play the show with us in Pittsburgh.
Oh, really? Awesome. That's great news.
Phil keeps changing his mind about things, but he might decide to hang it up and manage the band, which he's been doing for over 40 years.
Long time. Yeah.
Tour. I love playing with him. I'm going to miss playing with him. He could change his mind and decide to come back. It's his baby. So
Yeah.
he's been through, a big recovery process in the last half a year. So he's in good health right now, knock on wood. So
Good. You just never know.
Never-
Things happen. It's crazy. I had Phil on the show a long time ago, man. Another really good guy. I had Rich on the show. When you guys were playing in Topeka, you had Rich was not there, and you actually had Kerry Livgren and Dave Hope join the band. How was that?
That was amazing. It wasn't the first time. The first time I met those guys was in July of last year when they joined us in Kansas City on stage. And there we had Phil and Rich on stage too. So it was 4 of the original guys. But yeah, unfortunately, Rich was dealing with the after effects of the hurricane.
In Carolina, yeah.
He couldn't make it to Topeka, but it was such a blast playing with Kerry and Dave and hearing stories about the creation of the songs and the inspiration. And Dave's just hilarious. He's constantly texting us funny memes and jokes and stuff. He's just an easygoing guy. And yeah, it's just a treat. It's really amazing.
Did you get to talk to Kerry one-on-one,
We did. He was sitting there because before every show, they give us a warm-up room. They set up little practice amps and an electronic drum kit.
Right.
We have an hour and we just run songs, whatever we want to work on, warm up, tweak, whatever. And it was this case, it was a pretty small room, and we're doing our thing. And Kerry and Dave walk in, and they're just sitting there staring at us, like right in front of us. Scott Bernard, the guitar player, it was his first time filling in for Rich. Great guitar player. But afterwards, we're walking out, he goes, "That was freaking terrifying." He's like right in your face, and you're playing all his songs. And you're about to do your first show with Kansas, but they're not intimidating guys at all. They're the most laid back, humble guys you can possibly imagine. And then we got to talk with Kerry. Told us about where his head was at when he was writing "Glimpse of Home." Some backgrounds on "Play the Game" and some of the other songs.
Right.
It's very fascinating. Very
Amazing songwriter.
Just one of the best of all time, really.
Every song talks about life,
I mean, for him, he was on a spiritual journey, finding, but people have taken those songs and interpreted them, applied them to their life, whatever they're going through. And, a song like "Hold On" has literally saved lives.
Mm-hmm.
People who were had suicidal thoughts, they've told us that song pulled them back.
I was in love with Kansas from the beginning when I was in high school. I knew. I mean, we all thought these guys from Kansas are playing this kind of music, because they were all in, overalls and flannel shirts.
Like when Tom first called me for the gig, he goes, "It's 25 songs. Nothing is written down." They don't read music. They're a bunch of kids from Kansas that got together in their garage and stumbled upon this incredibly complex music. They could have been a blues band.
Yeah.
Mostly self-taught, just amazing talent, and created some of the greatest music of all time. And a lot of it is really classically inspired. There's a counterpoint, there's fugues going on, there's fanfares, there's all the things you would find in Beethoven, Brahms, and the fact that the general public was open to that and accepted it. And,
Right.
the 70s, it was a real fruitful period where you can get away with those kinds of things.
That's right.
Commercial success. And I'm secretly hoping that comes back, that people
So do I, man.
influences in popular music.
Yeah. I was a top 40 DJ back in the late 70s. And we still had a great playlist. We were playing all kinds of stuff, Zeppelin.
For what you could play, right? You were
Yeah, we played everything. We had disco. We had Donna Summer was big back then. The Cars, Zeppelin, Kiss had a like a disco type song out there. Every midnight I played Jimi Hendrix Watchtower. It was a good playlist. It's
Well, like take Rush, for example. I just read Geddy Lee's book. They were discovered in Cleveland on WMMS.
Mhm.
And WMMS liked their music and just decided to play it.
That's the way it should be.
And WMMS is still around, but their Clear Channel or whatever dictates the playlist. DJ has zero say, so it would be impossible for something like that to happen now.
That was the biggest mistake when they passed that bill that you have these conglomerate radio stations, like you said, like Clear Channel and iHeartRadio, which they all program the same way, every station. Radio is supposed to be a community thing,
I think that's why a lot of people don't listen to commercial radio anymore. They just
sucks.
They like. I rarely do. I know I do because I make it my business to know what people are listening to, and my daughter, hips me to whatever the top 40 stuff is.
Yeah.
People seek out their own music.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of great internet stations and podcasts and that feature whatever genre you like. But mainstream is a different story. For music like this to become mainstream in the public consciousness is. How many rock bands are on the Billboard charts right now?
No, none.
Yeah,
None.
much.
Yeah.
A few years of that. So
I listened to Moro.com in France.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a prog station. They play you guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's right.
Moro.com. MOROW.com.
If they're listening, thank you for playing our stuff.
Yeah, they're good. They got a nice select. They play all the new stuff too, all the new prog stuff as well. What I would love to see Kansas do like what Yes did with the Union tour, where you have all the, all the best, all the Kansas guys get together for a tour, past and present. That would be so cool.
I did kind of do that in 2000 on Somewhere to Elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Rear End, Dave Hope, and the original guys came back. I don't think the whole lineup toured. I think it was Billy Greer, and it was the lineup of that time. But they did.
Right.
Now it would be tricky, just because not everyone is healthy enough to tour. It's an interesting idea. It would be really happen. And there's been so many past members in the band.
Yeah, that's true.
One thing that did happen was Steve Morse sat in with us.
I saw that. I saw it on YouTube.
So they've had an open invitation for past members of the band on
Yeah.
a tour. If we were local to where they lived, they would jump on stage with us. So it was with Steve Morse. Oh my God.
Yeah. I still like Steve Walsh in the band, as a singer.
Steve Walsh,
well.
one of the greatest singers of all time.
Yeah.
Probably top 5 favorite singers. And I got to meet him in Atlanta last year.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a shy person,
Yeah. Not on stage though.
Not on stage, different persona on stage.
I don't see how he has done all those acrobatic, standing up on his piano and all that stuff, man. That's incredible. Great shape.
Our current drummer Eric Holmquist has that keyboard in his basement that Steve
Does he
Walsh
really? Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So Steve retired in 2014. I don't know if he's still singing, but it's hard to keep that level of to keep your voice in that kind of shape.
Yeah.
You're an athlete when you're a singer like that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So yeah.
Robbie Steinhardt's wife is a Facebook friend. She's always posting stuff and everything. Do you know Robbie's wife?
Yeah, we've been in touch.
Yeah. She's really nice.
Thinking of bringing in Robbie's old violins to the last show in Pittsburgh of the tour.
Oh wow, that'd be great.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of cool things going on. She's a really nice woman.
Yeah. Any news of a rumor about a new Kansas album, maybe with you on it?
It's funny. Everyone keeps asking me that question, and I have no idea.
Nobody tells you anything, huh?
When I've spoken to Phil many times, and he kept talking about it, but for that to happen, we have to stop touring. The crew sits home, doesn't collect a paycheck.
Right.
We sit home, and there's not a big financial incentive to make a record now. I know that sounds kind of depressing. It's all about the live experience.
Right.
That's why stay on the road. You see so many tours because streaming made it impossible to make money off records. That being said, I think it's important to keep making new music, stay vital, and prove to people that you're still a living, breathing entity as a band, a creative entity.
That's true.
And I secretly hope that it happens. And we have great writers in the band.
Yep.
Tom, Dan McGowan, Ronnie, Zach. I mean, it's a little intimidating how many great writers we have in the band. Yeah, it would be amazing, but it's not my call. So,
yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm just, trying to do my job as well as I can, and I'm writing all the time, and you never know.
Your songwriting influence on Kansas would be tremendous on a new album.
Thanks.
Yeah, I like to see that.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you what my favorite Kansas songs is real quick, and I told Rich Williams this. Well, Magnum Opus is my favorite. It reminds me a bit the movie Ben-Hur because of the cracking of the whips on the slave ship, right? It's an epic track, man.
I would love to play that track, and we just have to work it up. We'll see what they have in mind for future set lists. But,
yeah, it may be in Orlando, in Tampa. That'd be great. Of course, The Wall, which is you guys usually play anyway, and Song for America and Lamplight Symphony. These are songs I grew up with, in high school.
Song for America is probably my favorite song to play.
Is it? I was going to ask you, what was your favorite tune?
Aside from the purely selfish reasons, because I have a lot of violin solos on it, it's just a great piece of music. It's epic.
Yeah, it really is.
Journey, and so much love from people after we play that song. They really appreciate it.
I'm going to ask you about AI real quick. Yesterday I had Kurt Malou on the show. He was in the band. He pronounces it Double. They had that mega hit, "The Captain of Her Heart." Remember that song?
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in 1985, I think it was. He had one track on his recent album that had a female singer on it. And I said, "Boy, she sings great." And he told me, "Well, she's AI." I was blown away, man.
I got to tell you. So my friend David Levin, who was the director of our video, who did three videos for us. Good friend of mine, he's been messing around with AI just in his spare time. He's endlessly fascinated. So he goes, "Send me all your vocal tracks from Outrage Olympics, just the individual wave files." So I did that, and he sent me back a version where we're singing. It's the Beatles singing, and each of us is a different member of the Beatles.
You're kidding me.
And it sounded exactly like the freaking Beatles. Maybe I'll put that up as a bonus track.
Oh, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that.
Then he did a version where I sounded like Bart Simpson. He did a version where I sounded like Taylor Swift,
Oh no.
Gianni Pavarotti, and like you could keep going and going and going, and it's pretty much nailing the sound. It's really creepy.
It is creepy.
I don't
Yeah.
know what to even think about it. I mean, yeah. What do you think about it?
It's been work as a I tell you how it's helped me. I just finished a new book. It's a sci-fi book. And I put all the ingredients of the book into AI for a cover. It nailed it. There's extraterrestrials in my book. There's government takeover. There's the military, and it just nailed it. I do like it. I have both my daughter and her husband are both teachers, and there is a tool to figure out if you're using AI, or what they would do is just if they hand in a project, they'll say, "Explain it to me," and if they can't explain it, they know it went through AI. But if it's there to enhance your current work, I'm for it. If it's your work, but it just, kind of like Grammarly kind of helps you in that process, it's okay.
It's good with certain things, like if you work for a company and you need to make kind of a boilerplate speech,
Right.
save yourself the time to write it because it's going
Exactly.
it'll write it for you. It's one of those things where it's a tool that's not going to go away. The Pandora,
Right.
you're going to have to live with it, and artists will find creative ways to utilize it in clever ways, without just doing nothing and letting it create your art from scratch. I also really do not believe that record companies are going to create an AI generated artist and
I hope not.
make them successful. And I'll tell you why. Because part of what attracts people to an artist is not just their songs, it's their story,
Mhm.
what they personally went through,
Right.
trials, tribulations, relationships, life and death, whatever, health things. But a AI generated entity has none of that. There's no life experience that you can latch onto. There might be some catchy songs, but that's about it. So they're like a fan is with you for the life journey.
That's right.
So I truly believe that humans will win that battle.
I hope so.
I'm saying it right now. Hopefully I'm not wrong,
Yeah, if they turn motion pictures into AI and all that kind of stuff, that's put a lot of people out of work.
Oh, I mean, it's going to create a lot of damage.
Yeah, I
But
think you're right.
every time some new innovation happens, everybody is up in arms that it's going to put a lot of people out of work and destroy everything. And oftentimes it does, but people find new ways to create art and to work.
Hmm.
It's the same. It's part of the same cycle, but you can't put it back in the box once it's out of the box.
Yeah, that's right. Isn't it amazing how they're pushing it though? I mean, all of a sudden, one day it's like, oh, let's AI everywhere,
Yep. Yeah. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. Let's just put it
Right. I do too. I do too. I just don't want it to take over the artistic process, because
Yeah. It's I don't think it will where it really matters,
right.
Although I'll tell you where I do think it's going to really take over is commercial music, incidental music, background
Right.
music,
Yep.
maybe film music, TV, stuff that you can just wallpaper kind of music that writers would get paid to write and record.
That's right.
A lot cheaper to just disposable stuff, like and that's where it's going to hurt, I think.
Well, you don't need a band. You could get all these AI players.
Exactly. And you can just click a button and say, I need this kind of vibe
That's it.
on,
Exactly.
and there used to be money in it. I've made some stuff that was used on different TV shows, and I get some nice checks from that, and
Yeah.
I don't see a future in it with AI.
Right.
I mean, depends on what the ethics of the company and the budget.
Exactly. Ethics.
So, but
Nobody has ethics.
corporations
When it comes to money, there are no ethics.
yeah.
What commercials or advertising have you done?
Oh, for
that I would recognize, I guess.
For right, there's been shows that have used Stratospheerius music, actually.
Huh.
Shows on National Geographic, Man versus Food. Remember that
Right.
show? Travel Channel has used our stuff. Mighty Morphine Power Rangers.
Power Rangers, that's cool.
Southern Fried Flicks on CMT. There's a whole bunch of stuff. And then I play sessions for composers for commercials, you know,
Mhm.
strings. So I've done stuff for Citibank. I just did a spot for Google. You know, if you hear strings on a commercial, I've done. I mean, there's a lot of guys doing that stuff, but
Big money in that.
many years.
Video
Sometimes
games.
it
Yeah.
gets chosen. It's a roll of the dice. It's like slot machine. You know, if all the cherries line up and your commercial gets chosen, then you can.
Right.
But you're competing against 100 or 1,000 other
Is that right? Really?
demos. You know.
Huh.
So like a company will hire a bunch of composers to write music for a spot,
Mhm.
turn around, and you know, one of them may get it.
Yeah. Yeah, but could be the right one. Might
Yeah.
hit it big.
But
You
it
know?
used, you know, jingle houses. There used to be a whole neighborhood in Manhattan where they would have jingle houses, and they would constantly be hiring musicians
Mhm.
around the clock to record commercials. They'd have orchestras and horn sections. Now it's one guy working in his home studio working with a synth or overdubbing a bunch of string instruments, one man orchestra kind of thing. It's all been concentrated in the hands of people working in their basements, you know.
That's right.
Very different than what it was 40 years ago.
You need to write a Christmas song or a Hanukkah song. Hanukkah really needs a song. You know,
Yeah.
I'm tired of Adam Sandler.
We need our Mariah Carey.
But you know, one song that gets played every year. Just imagine, you know.
Yes, you know how many people have that same idea and
I know.
actually succeed in creating that one song. There's
I know.
millions of Christmas and Hanukkah songs out there.
Yeah,
What sticks in the public?
that's
conscience?
it. Yeah, but you got a good sound. You could pull it off with a violin, you know.
I'll get around to it's too late for this year, but I'll get around to it. Maybe
Yeah,
for another year. You know, we'll see.
that would be awesome. Well, Joe, I've asked you this many times before. I want to see if your opinion changed. The Field of Dreams wish question. If you had a Field of Dreams wish to perform, collaborate with anyone from the past or present, who would that be? Now, I'm going to take the Beatles off the table because we get that too much.
Paul McCartney, does that count?
Yeah, that's number one answer.
Well, well, that's a loaded question. I have to pick one, or could I list a few?
No, you get a whole band if you want.
I'm putting a band together, or I'm putting.
You could put a band together or one person, whatever you like.
I'll just rattle off names.
Okay.
I think Zappa. That's a person I would have loved.
Zappa. Yeah.
Eddie Van Halen,
Okay.
Jimi Hendrix, John McLaughlin, who's alive.
Yep.
Neal Morse, who I've always admired.
Mm-hmm.
John Mayer, big John Mayer fan. Igor Stravinsky, Miles Davis,
It's a good list.
people that come to mind. Buddy Rich, maybe
Buddy-
not Buddy. Maybe
My
not
favorite
Buddy.
drummer.
Not a very
Yeah.
nice. But, I could keep going, but
Yeah.
Chick Corea, Herbie Hancock,
Yep.
Prince,
Billy Cobham.
Billy Cobham,
Mm.
of course. John Anderson. That would be a cool person to do like string parts for, you know.
His-
We could be here all day.
That's the best answer yet. I want to say very special thanks today to Ann Layton, the wonderful Ann Layton. I've known Ann now for quite a long time. She's a wonderful person. She does great things. Her company, Media Music Services Motivation. And I want to thank Ann again. You can purchase the new album by Stratospheerius entitled Impostor, right there. Just get out your phone.
I just had this idea, like
That's a great idea. There you go. I don't have to mention the website. Everybody get your phone and buy the album right now. It's right there in front of you. You can't miss it.
then you could buy tickets for our show December 15th. Boom.
There you go. This is to buy tickets.
Is this right? Yeah, this is the right.
December 15th. And where's that, Joe?
It's at the Williams Center in Rutherford, New Jersey.
Rutherford, New Jersey. Yep.
If you live in other parts of the country, you can live stream it, and you can see the live stream link on this website as well.
Right.
That's with Stratospheerius, T Club, Dave Bainbridge, and Randy McStine.
I like Dave. Dave's another good guy. Dave lives in Baltimore.
He does. He's a multi-talent guy, and he sat in with us on a few songs when we played Orion Studios in Baltimore.
Yep. I was born and raised in Baltimore. Matter of fact. Yeah. He's a good guy. Your official website, www.joedeninzon.com. You're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can also go to Stratospheerius, www.stratospheerius.com. They're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. And don't forget www.kansasband.com. Kansas is also on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and everywhere. Joe, thank you again, man, for being on the show again. You are one of my favorite people.
You as well, my friend. Thanks for having me. It's really always a blast to speak with you. And can I also, there's simplified versions of those websites for people who have trouble.
Okay, shoot.
JoeDViolin.com and Stratos Band, Stratos band.com.
Okay, the simplified version.
And you get all our social media from the websites.
Okay, awesome.
Yep.
Good luck with the current tour with Kansas. I hope to see you in Tampa.
Give me a heads up, and I'll try to get you into the show and after show passes.
That would be wonderful. I would really appreciate that. I will cover the show for you. Okay. And I can bring a photographer. I have my own photographer, take pictures, and we'll do a great write-up.
As long as you clear it with the powers that be, then
I know.
Should be all right.
I was just on stage at the Joan Jett concert. I got to be on the stage with Joan, which was really cool. Yeah. I know the record company.
That's great. I love Joan Jett for many years.
Yeah, she's really cool.
Amazing.
Good luck, Joe. How are the kids, by the way, real quick?
They're great, man. Yeah, my son Max is 15. He's a sophomore.
Oh wow. Is he driving?
Not yet. I'm kind of scared of that, but he took driver's ed, so soon. In Jersey it's 17. Because
it's 17. Wow.
But because it's just drive like maniacs here. I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
Ariana is 11. She's in sixth grade, and she's into songwriting. She's obsessed with Sabrina Carpenter, and
fantastic.
She's writing her own songs and playing guitar.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna have to bring her on stage one day.
We have a big jam session, me and her every Wednesday. That's like our jam together for hours.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How about the missus? Is she touring or anything, or?
No, she was off on sick leave. She had surgery, and then she came back last month. She's back at work. They're doing concerts and not touring until the summertime.
Okay.
They're waiting because they're in between music directors. Gustavo Dudamel is coming in. He's a big rock star. He's starting with them next year, so they're going to be doing a lot of touring. So now it's kind of the calm before the storm. They're mainly playing at home, which works out for me because she can be home while I'm on tour.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Very cool.
If you're ever in New York, we could try to get you New York Phil tickets.
Yeah. Awesome. The music at your household, man, must be incredible.
Sometimes it's cool. Other times we're just too wiped out to play any. Just edge out playing the TV,
That's funny. Joe, thank you, man. Good to see you again.
Too. And
happy holidays if I don't see you until then. And like I said, I hope to see you in Tampa.
Thank you for watching Interviewing the Legends with Ray Shasho.